I'm going live.
Oh, did you dog the doors already?
Yeah,
Or
they're all
join
ready.
us. Join us.
Well,
Hey, you're welcome to come and listen.
Performing at Portobello.
Going to do some
Oh,
reading.
sorry.
But I'd love to sing.
Hi, everyone. I'm Trish Triumpho Sullivan, and I'm the proprietor of Downtown Book and Sound. And I'm here tonight with Krishnanand, and he is going to be talking about his book, Within the Portal. Let me hold it up a little bit closer. And so he's gonna do some reading and talk about the book, and we're gonna ask him some questions, and he's gonna answer some questions. So we're gonna get right to it. And I want to thank everyone for joining us who's here, and we'll get started. So, Krishnanand, thank you for joining us. This is awesome for you to be
Cheers.
here. Cheers, indeed.
Cheers to Downtown Book and Sound.
Hello, and Dan has his glass here. Want to say hello, Dan?
Oh, sure.
We're having
Hello, Dan.
we're having a little cheers to celebrate.
Now I'm dry.
Oh, we have to have some more. So we're having a little cheers to celebrate Krishnanand's book, Within the Portal. And thank you for joining us tonight. And you want to start right off with a reading.
I do. Thank you for
Okay,
inviting
perfect.
me. And I'd like to jump right in and give you something from the book itself. Chapter 0, Dead and Alive. Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you should begin to climb. Khalil Gibran. O death, where's your victory? O death, where's your sting? Corinthians chapter 15:55. Well, so I can die easy. Led Zeppelin and Blind Willie Johnson, in my time of dying. Even dead, I am alive. A thunderous hum surrounds me. It is an atmosphere, comforting and soothing because it is familiar within this strange and unknown dimension. I do not know within which cell, atom, or nuclei of my body or brain the hum resides, or how, when, or where I know of it, but its familiarity reminds me that I am aware. I am alive. I live. I exist. Even dead, I am alive. I am primordial. I am soul. The hum, the harmony of the spheres is comforting, like a sweet, omnipresent flute. There is no where, there is no place, no when, no I. I have no identity, only awareness. I exist within a mesh of celestial awareness stretched across a fabric of empty space. The thunderous hum surrounding me causes emotions. It drifts closer through this primordial celestial space. A presence is with me. I am not alone. She is ochre, a smoldering orange, deep and rich in texture. She is gentle, smart, soothing, caring. It is wisdom. It is love. It is my origin, my source, my protection. She is divinity. My soul has left my body. My body lies on pavement, swathed in motor oil and body oil. Hot motor oil pours over me, and crimson body oil flows from my nostrils, mouth, ears, and eyes. A pastor recites the last rites as I lie dead in the street. May the Lord in his love and mercy help you within the grace of the Holy Spirit. May the Lord who frees you from sin save you and raise you up. But who is he praying over? I am not there. My spirit has left the body. It teleported upon impact, journeying in an instant to the other side. The three elements of my being have been separated. My physical body, flesh and bones, lies on the pavement of an accident scene. My energy body, made of wheels of light, remains and hovers above. My causal body and consciousness are in another dimension altogether. At the moment of impact, my spirit catapults through light years and constellations, landing softly in a dark that is not dark, in a place that has no place, in light that is not light, no time, location, or identity. In the darkness of light, in the light of darkness, there is peace, comfort, and sublimity. The spiritual presence of ochre saffron assures me all is well. I have no doubt. All I feel is well. Peace, comfort. She was love, knowledge, wisdom, and safety. There was no concern. I was content. I had no needs, no wants. Her presence was peace and contentment. I knew I was dead, but I was not afraid. I asked the saffron presence, will I return as I was? Where are the angels, the loved ones who passed on before me? We do not feel alone. Yet I am alone. She guided me. You shall return. Rest. You will need to rest for what you will endure upon return. I will always be with you. Even when you do not believe or are aware of me, I will always be with you, as I've always been. I always will be. I am yours. You are mine. I had no doubt. She is eternal. We have been together always. Death was not scary. It was not worrisome. It was not blissful or joyful. It was temporary. A silly delay, like a road detour on your way home. Nothing to get worked up about. Within the portal that lay between death and life, I had no need for a body or possessions. My mind was clear. My spirit was intact. I was in clear content with my essence, my soul. No body, ego, or desires existed between us. My mind was aligned with my soul. Not confined by space or time, I was able to know and be aware without witnessing or being told that the body, known as Scott, was being resuscitated by paramedics in an intersection. I'm not ready. Can I remain here a while? Your soul is the life force that animates your body. Without it, your body cannot live. Your soul must be returned to your body. Your time of death has not come. It was arranged that my soul be rejoined with my physical body to sustain it. Much of my spirit and my mind would remain here. I had no need to understand, nor to plan or review. It was all known, like an instant download within my mind, the meaning of life, meaning of death, perfect clarity of the human condition, who I truly am, a divine soul, who I have been, infinite lives and incarnations, and who I could become, pure divine consciousness. The cosmic upload revealed the body of flesh is disposable. It is merely dense matter. Beneath it is the energy body, providing a base of form. It is subtle matter. Beyond both is my causal body. All my thoughts, knowledge, perceptions, emotions, destinies, and karmas from many lifetimes are stored within a causal form. It is consciousness. All of them are made of worldly matter, some ethereal, formless and subtle, some dense and physical. Underlying all of them is my true essence, my soul. It is ever pure and never changing, perfect and divine. I understand that only my soul is divine. The rest of me is ordinary. Identity and body are ephemeral, ever changing and of dense matter. Mind and consciousness are ethereal, ever changing but ever the same and of subtle energy. I understood that there are just two phenomena, spiritual and material. The soul is spiritual, God is spiritual. The rest is material. It's time to return, I was told. I have no thoughts about this. I have no preference. I only want to please her. Return, stay, suffer, exalt. Whatever she wants, I belong to her, and she belongs to me. While I remember here what I know, what I truly am, it will all reside within you. You can remember any time you truly wish from your heart and with good intention. I am always with you. I am all there is to remember. I am all there is to know.
Wow, that is powerful.
Thank you.
No, that's powerful stuff. Wow, thank you for sharing. So this book came about because of this experience that you had. Is that the start of it, or was it already kind of something that you knew you were going to write?
No. I had already written 4 books prior to this and was in the process of publishing and completing some of them. And I was a spiritualist since I was born. And so I was already on a mission at some point in my writing career and my spiritual career to write a book of resources for all spiritual paths and mysticism, to be able so people could go to one place and find what I do all my life, which is read volumes and volumes of books to gain all the knowledge that I had. And so this was never even on my radar. I mean, I wouldn't write about near death because I had never had one.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
everything got complete. And even This book is big because it was a 10-year experience. My near-death experience was not a moment in time. It was an ongoing event and still is. I constantly, at will, connect to the other side within the portal. And the last thing I want to do is write about it. When you experience this book, you won't read it, you'll experience it. When you experience this book, you're not just getting an account of a death experience. It's a saga. What I went through, what I endured. I became a 3-time medical miracle. And the entire time I'm going through these medical and clinical things, I'm having a supernatural phenomena of an ongoing event. So I never wanted to write about it because I just wanted to put it behind me. I just wanted to get it as far behind me as I possibly could. And it wasn't until 3 years ago when I received another set of visions, which I often do. I call them Akashic agents. They're from the space of the Akash. And so Akashic agents, that's, you could say angels, whatever. It's just my friendly term for them. And so they kind of tell me what to do, and they give me visions on, directing me on what I probably should consider. And so I was already writing another book, and the visions came were like, and every once in a while, these Akashic agents, they might suggest or infer, usually give me some guidance. But sometimes, every once in a while, a few times, like, stop doing this and do that instead. And it was, stop writing that book and write this book instead. So,
And
The
so,
Portal was
and
born.
the When the Portal is born.
yes.
Well, first of all, it's a beautiful book. And one of the things that first drew me to it was the artwork on the front. Now, I'm a huge fan of art. I'm an artist myself. So when I saw this, it was very compelling. There's a pair of eyes, like staring, these beautiful blue eyes. And then this like mandala or sign of, I mean, it feels beautiful.
Mandala is correct,
like
yes.
very spiritual and refreshing looking. So when I first saw it, that's the first thing that drew me to it. Before I heard anything else about your experience, I just thought the artwork was gorgeous. And so tell me about the cover and the artwork. How did that come about?
In year 4 of my near-death experience, I was exiled to live in the Pacific Northwest, living alone, where I was told I was going to die. And I wasn't dying. I kept coming back, and I kept getting stronger. And I'm like, okay, I got to build a life, I guess, if I'm going to live.
You won't be in it.
You
Right
were-
here.
And so I was given this vision over 3 different nights. And within this vision, I get a lot of visions from the Akashic agents, but this vision came with a symbol, and it was on me. And I needed to get it tattooed on me. And so soon, and I don't know if you can see it on the video, but I have this, it's an 11-point star that I kept
Okay.
seeing this vision, and I was supposed to have it on me. And so I got a henna tattoo just kind of drawn on me to see if I liked it, because I wouldn't get a
Oh,
permanent
that's
thing.
cool. I love it.
And I wore that for a couple of weeks. And every time I looked at it, it was like, this belongs here, and I loved it, and I needed it, and it needed to be there. And I didn't know why. I would just kind of follow what the visions were telling me. It was several years later, we're talking 5 or 6 years later, that it became the cover of this book. So what you see here is a mandala. It is a yantra. The visual meditation tools you use to transcend consciousness. This is an 11-pointed star. My life lesson is in 11 numerology. So again, I'm a mystic. I'm a Pythagorean numerologist, astrologist, etc., and have been for many, many years, long before my death experience. So what you have here is a 11-point star, surrounded by the colors are specifically chosen. You have the violet, represents.
I'm going to hold this up closer to the camera so that the people that
Excellent.
are
That's a good idea.
watching
So while I give you a little
see
tour of
what
this,
it
so
looks like.
what you see here, actually in the back of the book, and I'm going to read right from it. The back of the book gives you another display of it to explain what it is and how it works. Within the portal,
Hold it
outside
this
in,
way.
the white light radiance. So this is coming from the outside, working into the center of it.
Okay.
12 lotus petals for the Anahata heart chakra. Ochre ring of protection, which is the green. A violet radiance for higher consciousness in the Hasasara chakra. The ochre star banishing perimeter. The violet hendecagram as saw in my vision. The Ouroboros, if you look closely, you see in the very core of this is an Ouroboros, a serpent eating its own tail. Swallowing its own tail represents infinity and eternality. radiant light from within. It's radiating light from within. And then, of course, in the very center is a bindi, a focal point, which all yantras have. So this is traditionally
so cool. It's
sticks
beautiful.
to the Sanskrit yantras that have been around since they're primordial. And so this is what I kept seeing. And what I saw was the basic endecagram and evolved into this. The artist, now, the blue being here, I'm working with the artist who is very close to me, and she's a wonderful artist. She's absolutely amazing. She took all my crap as I'm directing what I'm seeing, how I'm visualizing, and she just kept modifying and turn this beautiful thing out. And so the face could be you, could be me. It's whatever you want to see. We were going back and forth a lot whether the eyes should be closed or open. We have them both. On the website, you'll see there's an animated version where the eyes are open, the eyes are closed and they open.
That's cool.
As
Cool.
the bindi expands inside the head. And so this could be Krishnanand. This could be Shiva. This could be you. This could be anyone or anything. It could be an angel. It could be anyone or anything. And it's all of them at once.
It's absolutely beautiful, and it's a very powerful image that literally drew me into the book when I first saw it. So, well, thank you for sharing with that. That's awesome. Would you like to do another reading?
I would.
We would love to hear some more.
Great.
And then, would you like some water or a little bit more?
I'm liking the bubbly stuff you got.
Okay,
It's pretty good. And I like
Great.
drinking with a couple of friends. It's nice.
Well, we always
Nice having
like
some
to.
company.
We always like to promote our local wineries, and we're having a little bit of Odonata, which is a wonderful local winery, family-owned winery, and this is a Blanc de Noir of Pinot Noir. Nice 2020. So we'll make sure you have a little bit to wet your whistle here.
So what I read you is literally the opening of the book. I don't like to use the word prologue, so I didn't even use one. I usually use different words. I like to mix it up. Now we're going to jump to the middle of the book. Now, keep in mind that my near-death experience and this event is not a singular event of just one time, one moment. It's an ongoing event. What I'm going through medically and physically and supernaturally is just an ongoing string of pearls of supernatural events within and without. And it's just, it becomes undeniable. When you read this book again, you're not just reading something, you're having an experience. And I think there's no other way that people are constantly looking at this and saying, I can't believe this is true. This is just one thing after another. And some of them are very dark and tragic and very chilling. And many of them are so illuminating and so beautiful that coalescing together, they just show you the tapestry of what life is truly about, our dramas of them. And so this is where I came up with my own little action for myself, is that my life has been a string of pearls and a crown of thorns.
That's beautiful. I love that. A string of pearls.
So this is from a chapter called Deja Vu Reincarnation 101. It explains exactly how reincarnation works within the Vedas, and the scriptures that teach us how this works. And the organized religions that we have in the West, they used to support this too. They change it later. So I'm going to jump into this is somewhere in there, and it begins with the most common after effect of an NDE, near-death experience, is a loss of personal identity. It's a very common feature of NDE for many people. Your identity is made up of the sum total of your prior experiences and events leading you to this very moment. With no past, you have no reference with which to identify. Now take that in for a moment. Your identity is a collection of all of your thoughts and experiences up to this very moment, right now, the eternal present, right now, right now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Without any of that, you don't know who you are. You have no point of reference. Now keep in mind that this is taking place. I had no point of reference. My identity was deleted. When I woke up in the hospital, I didn't know who I was, what hospital was, or anything. Once traveling to the other side, your ego and sense of self evaporate. You are not this body or mind within this particular name and face. You are an eternal soul transcending time and material reality. When your chitta consciousness leaves your body during an NDE and returns to the same body, you're experiencing a sort of mini reincarnation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I died, went to a celestial dimension, and returned to the dimension of matter. Being aware of the portal while living within matter causes severe disorientation. I was definitely confused due to the accident, but not the way doctors thought I was. The boundaries between conventional time and matter were all mashed up. So I perceived several at once. This happens with a full-blown Kundalini event too, which I explain later that I've had that before this ever occurred. Many people with TBI, traumatic brain injury, go insane. And so do a few NDEers and Kundalini experiencers too. Does the near-death experience activate the Kundalini energy in some people, not others? As sublime and divine as it is to have a direct perception of your soul, it is challenging to have such awareness whilst living within matter. Let me repeat that last one. As sublime and divine as it is to have a direct perception of your soul, it is challenging to have such awareness whilst living within matter. My point of that is that what this book is describing, what I'm going through is that I'm coexisting within a spiritual phenomenon. My consciousness is partially always within the spiritual realm since during and ongoing from this death event. And that's beautiful because there it's perfect. And you have total contentment, as I was describing earlier on. But it's hard to reorient in the material world all the time, where you're kind of ping-ponging back and forth. So that part was challenging. You want to be in one or the other, and it's hard to reconcile and make them fuse together so you can coexist with both. And that's what I was going through. That's what was being described there. Again, part of the common feature of NDE is to have a loss of identity and to kind of reorient when you're trying to figure out who you were. So basically, the way I learned who I was when I came home from the hospital, I'll get a few tears. And my tears don't come from my pain. My tears will come when I explain, my son's showing me who I was. And when I think of myself as a source of pain, how scared my loved ones were when they found out what happened to me, that's where the tears come from. So pardon me. When I came home from the hospital, my son took me on a tour around my home. The first thing he said to me when I sat on the sofa was, "So how'd it feel to be home, Dad?" And I said, "I know intellectually that this is my fish tank and this is my front door and this is my fireplace, but it feels familiar. I can't connect to any of it."
Wow.
He took me into the garage. He said, "This is your car. This is your motorcycle." I said, "What's this over here?" He goes, "That's your scuba gear. You're a scuba diver. You've been all over the world." He
And
said,
you're like, what?
you're a skydiver. You're a scuba diver. You're a skier. You're pretty extreme. You're pretty intense. And I'm like, I can't manage any of that stuff. He brought out some magazines, some newspapers. I was a private practice counselor and innovator in my community in Los Angeles. And I had articles written about me. I was in the papers and TV pretty often. And he showed me all this. And I'm like, I can't be this guy. This guy's like doing great stuff. I can't be this guy. So I'm learning about myself the same way. The same way you're learning about me today. The same way you learn about somebody you're reading in a newspaper. That's how I'm learning about who I am.
Wow.
I'm seeing pictures. I'm like, that's this guy. And this article, that this is who I am. So that's how I'm learning about myself.
Wow. That's heavy.
It was.
Wow.
Heavy and dark.
Really heavy.
And you try to develop a sense of humor. So there were times when part brain
You
injury.
would hope, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like
It's a
when
great
I exiled in Washington, because I was told I was going to die and I didn't want to burden anybody. So I was like, I'm just going to go live there by myself. I told my family I'm okay. I wanted to live by myself. And I'm living up in the Puget Sound by myself. And I get in the car. And so my consciousness is teleporting to the other side within the portal all the time. So I'm in contact and communication with this form of reality, spiritual reality all the time, right? I'm driving in the car and I'm just gone. I'm like within the portal, having a full-on conversation and a whole experience there. And then my Bluetooth phone rings on the car and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the car. Like, where am I going? I don't even know why I'm in the car. I don't remember getting in the car.
Oh.
Am I going to the store? Now in Washington, where I was living, you can have these long, long roads that go on for a long time. You don't see anything. It's my son on the Bluetooth. He's like, Dad, I'm landing at 5:4. I'm like, oh my God, that's when I'm going to the airport. That's good. That's when I'm in the car. It's a good thing you called. So, and again, instead of being upset or scared, I'd be like, isn't that scary? Like, I don't know where I'm at. I'd be in a grocery store or something. Be like, how'd I get here?
Mhm.
I mean, that happens to us all when we get a bit older here and there, but not in the same kind of way.
Not in the same kind of way.
And so instead of like, I'm looking around, I'm like, this guy's shopping for his groceries. This person like, they're just having a normal experience. Me, I'm having an adventure, man. I don't even know why. I don't even know how I got here. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I start laughing at it. I just have fun with it.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
What else can you do?
Well, what else can you do?
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I had an interesting experience when I was about 15. I was crossing the street and was right like in the kind of center turn lane, and a car came out from the path and hit me. Now, it didn't hit me hard, but he hit me and it knocked me down. And I don't even remember hitting the ground really. So in that instant, which was probably like, it was long enough for him to get out of the car and, you know, come and and a couple other people to get out. I was like passed out, but I wasn't hurt at all. But I left my body definitely. And I had my entire life flash before my eyes. And so it was definitely like in that instant, it went through all the things that I had done throughout my life. And then it was like, okay, well, you know, you're back. And I mean, he could have, and it was in the instant of me falling, like I hadn't even like the car hit, I thought it hit me and I was gone.
Right.
Because he could have run right over me in that instant too. I could have been dead in that instant. Like, oh, so many different things could have happened, but it wasn't. I mean, I had my side of my knee hurt for a while where the car actually came in contact, and I had a tiny scrape on my elbow, but that was it. And then the guy actually, here's how out of it I was, because this is, you're talking about being completely out of it and not connected. He's like, people are like yelling, like, you need to call an ambulance, right? But I knew I wasn't hurt. I knew I was okay physically. And he says, what can I do? Like, you need me to call the ambulance, you know, whatever, call it back. I'm like, no, just give me a ride.
Oh.
And so I get in the car with a strange guy that just hit me, who could have been anyone, but, you know, because I was in this different space. And so he took me and dropped me off in high school. That's what I was on my way to school, was crossing the street away from the crosswalk, which anyway, so I get that feeling of like not really like connecting back into real life afterwards, but I didn't have the kind of experience you had. It was so, I didn't go anywhere really except to see that.
That you remember. You
But
might
I
have.
remember, but that's true. I do
Again.
not remember it.
So
Who knows?
Let's back up
Because
a
I was
minute.
definitely had blacked
when you
out.
talk about the moment of impact, first of all, what you experience is called life review. The NDE culture has a term for that, and it's called life review.
That
So
makes
that
sense.
whole
So it was
life
like-
passing before your eyes in a flash is called life
You
review.
hear that, but you always think, oh, bullshit, right? That's not
Until
really,
it happens to
until
you.
it happens. And so
Okay,
that was
so-
like,
so-
boom, yeah.
Now, the day that this occurred, I'm in my office. I'm a private practice counselor at the time. I changed my career from being a construction work contractor to being a counselor, and I was successful at it. And I was saving lives. It was a wonderful, glorious thing to do. And suddenly, I get 3 clients that reschedule. That happens, but never 3 in a row. And I'm booked back to back. Like, I'm really busy, and I didn't bring any extra work because I thought I was back to back with clients all day. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I got like 4 hours to kill. So I'm like, you know what? The only way I know this because I called my girlfriend and I told her. I said, I'm going to get a physical. I'm overdue for a physical. I got some 3 hours to kill. I'm going to drive up the street to the clinic and get a physical. I went out of the parking garage. For some reason, that day I rode my motorcycle. It's a very unusual Italian scooter that's got 3 wheels. It's not a Spider. It's nothing like. It's very unusual. You have to look. It's an MP3 500. Anyway, so I get out in the garage. I get my bike out, and for the first time in 7 years in that office, I turned right instead of left, and I never did that before. To this day, I don't know why. I never will know why. The right turn was was some traffic intersections. The left turn was easy, quiet sights into town. I never ever went to the right. For this day, I didn't. I don't know why. I never will know. 2 blocks away, I am a left turn lane all by myself, and I get a green arrow just for me. And I ease up to my left turn, and I goes through the light, hits me in the face, kill me instantly. Now, on the corner is a tire center, and there's a guy out front on a cell phone. He's a pastor. He sees the guy. I found out years later, because I never knew this until about 3 years ago. He told me that his daughter cajoled him into going with him that day to get her tires on her car. He was resisting the whole day. Then he went. He saw the accident. He was the first guy on the scene in seconds. Thought God put me here for a reason. Pulled my body from the wreck. I was bleeding from my nose, my eyes, my ears, and my mouth. I was dead. Shared in my last rites as I shared in that first story, that first reading. On the other corner is a Jack in the Box restaurant. And there are 2 paramedics at the front of the drive-thru line getting lunch. Had they been in the back of the line, I wouldn't be here. Had they went tacos instead of burgers, I wouldn't be here. So we've got a collection of miracles. Now, my injury was a DII. Now, when the paramedics brought my body back to life, I say it that way because I was gone. As I said, there I was teleported. I teleported gone in an instant. My body was in a death scene, but my consciousness, my chitta was gone. They brought they brought my body back to life. I was in a coma for 9 days. I woke up on my birthday.
Wow.
So again, people were wondering, like, why wasn't I writing this book? Why wasn't I writing this story so much sooner? I now know for 2 reasons. One, in the beginning, I don't want nothing to do with it. I just want this to be behind me as much as I could. I was trying to learn how to walk and talk again. When I woke up from my coma, I could not walk. I could not talk. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what a hospital was. I was like an infant in a man's body, in a broken man's body. And I wanted to be behind me. And secondly, now I know, as I wrote it finished it about several months ago and released it. Now I know it's because it wasn't done yet. The story was not done. What you're experiencing in this story is an epic journey that goes to India, to Egypt, throughout the U.S. I'm in Los Angeles when it occurs. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm in India. What's happening in these places are powerful spiritual events that are undeniable, and
Wow.
you just have to read it to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited about that.
So what you experience with that's called a life review. Now, this is standard for NDE, near-death experience life review, life passing before your eyes. However, while I was within the portal, Akashic agents, which is what I like to call them, instead of angels, I refer to them as Akashic. It's in the Akashic space. I refer to them as Akashic agents. They offered me a supplement to my life review. Keep in mind, I wasn't there for an instant. I was there for 9 Earth days.
Right.
And they said, would you like to have a life review of many lifetimes? And I said, yes, but only lifetimes that are relevant to my spiritual journey, not everyday lifetimes. I only want to see lives where I made good spiritual choices and bad ones so I can learn from it. And so what was given to me was a cinema, a display of lifetimes over thousands of years.
Wow.
Like you saw your whole life flash before you in an instant, I
But
saw
you saw
lifetimes
Lifetimes.
in several. So it's like instant download. And so I'm watching this like a film while I'm in a coma in a hospital.
Well, sorry, hang on just a sec. And keep talking. I'm going to get this and move out of the way.
Yes, while you're in the coma in the hospital.
So while I'm in a coma in the hospital, my chitta, my consciousness is within the portal. And I'm at the cinema. I'm giving this display of past lifetimes where I'm seeing like you flash before your eyes, only I'm seeing hundreds of them over thousands of years. And I'm seeing some of the most significant events in history of spiritual, only relating to spiritual, religion and spirituality. So the origins of our religions, the origins of our spiritual paths, where they come from, what they do, how they work, is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what I did right to progress and what I did wrong to digress.
I have a question, may I ask
Please.
you? How did you feel during this? Did it feel more like home or did it feel like a foreign space?
I don't know if you can hear. She said, did it feel so like within the portal? Does it feel like home?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you would put it that way. Home is a good way to describe it.
Mm.
Again, as I mentioned, as I read in the very first passage there, when you're within the portal, when you're in the bardo, as the Tibetan Buddhists call it, when on the other side, there is total peace and contentment.
Mm.
Your chitta consciousness is there, but your ego evaporates. So identity, it's not necessary. So
Yeah.
yourself is not who you truly are. Your soul is eternal and divine. And so your consciousness is a part of that, but it's part of the material phenomenon, not the spiritual. So it's attached to it. And so when you're there, you don't want to go back because, again, you're not in bliss. You're not in joy. You're just completely content. Like there's just nothing wrong. Now imagine that for a moment. That may not sound rather benign, but imagine for a moment.
We don't know contentment.
Right? We all want those days. We all want those days. We don't want to have that moment of a day where we have no. So imagine if you can't just even have a moment. And so, yes, you're completely content. And then again, there's a presence there. And as I said in that first passage, it wasn't just a presence. It was wisdom. It was knowledge. It was beauty. It was love. It was divinity.
Mm.
And it's so intimate. It's not and why I related to that in that first passage as her with a capital H is because to me it was a very clear sense that that God was androgynous, that the God power is male and female simultaneously and yet separate at the same time. And the male persona is the power, the almighty, the rules and regulations, the things that need to take place. And behind that, or simultaneously with that, is the divine love aspect.
Mm.
The divine love aspect is maternal.
And that's feminine.
And for me it was feminine. And so I always relate to the divine love as her and the almighty power is he. So again, I had the life preview and the life review in a very so I didn't mention that. So my theory is that every NDEer has a life preview as well, but they don't remember it. Because as I talk to other NDEers, and as they go on podcasts, get interviewed by people that do this all the time, and they say, like, preview, I never heard of that before. It's like the first time. And I say, well, my understanding is that from the Akashic agents that everyone experienced it, but they don't remember it. Like preview was, I was given a preview of what I was going to reincarnate as. Because I was coming back into this lifetime, it was my little mini reincarnation. So you're not just given a review when you die, you're given a preview. And again, all this is done for it's grace. It's all done for your benefits. You can see and learn what you could do right, what you could do wrong, to develop and evolve spiritually, not materially. And so I was given this preview as well. But again, because I came back into this body in this lifetime, I was able to retain this memory. I was able to retain all this and be able to dredge it up later when my memory came back, which is within this book. So like preview, I mean, I'm in this portal, within the portal, saying the Akashic agents, which comes right after that press I was reading, saying, I don't want to go back. But I got to go back is horrifying. I mean, I'm going to be injured. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to know who I am. My loved ones are going to feel estranged. I mean, how am I going to cope? I don't want to go back. This is perfect. I don't just let me here. But it wasn't. There's hard destinies and soft destinies. Hard destiny is like your death event, your birth event. Those can't be changed. Those are fixed.
Okay.
They're not mutable.
Okay.
But there's soft destinies too. Soft destinies are the things that we can change. And so, well, the doctor said I was going to die. But I wasn't going to last 4 years. I was either going to be institutionalized, insane, and or dead. But no one with my brain trauma, TBI, my DAI, it's a DAI injury, diffuse axonal injury. No one had ever survived it. No one had come out of a Glasgow stage 3 coma before. And I did both. So while the fate that's fixed, you can't change, how you deal with it is up to you. And so as I lie in the hospital and was told that I would be a burden to those I loved.
Wow.
I'm in the hospital still. I was there for 28 days the first time around. And I was like, well, I'm just going to hold my breath and die. I'm not going to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden to these people they shouldn't be victimized by this.
Yeah. And
I'm just going to give up the will to live and I'm just going to die. But the Akashic agents, a voice inside my head, you could say, said, but what if you live? What if you survive? What if you persevere? What if you triumph over this tragedy? What kind of inspiration would you be to those people that you love and that you've worked your whole lifetime to inspire? Wow. And that's when I found my will to live. And I said, fuck it. I'm going to live.
There you go.
And that's when I was given the preview that was going to be horrifying. And again, the hard and soft destinies, what I was going to have to endure, the injuries and all those things I couldn't change. But what you do with it is up to you.
I was going to ask you.
Yes, how you deal with it is up to you.
I was going to ask you if you had a choice.
That's right.
If you could make choices.
So you still have, so your free will is blended with your hard destinies. You still have free will. So while I couldn't change what happened to me, it's up to me how I deal with it and how I process it. And this is where I came up with my own little axiom. There's only one thing worse than suffering. Suffering for no reason.
Oh. Suffering for no reason.
And it's up to us to contemplate, meditate, and fathom the reasons of what we can do. How can we convert our suffering into something that is inspiring for ourselves and other people?
That makes
I'm not trying to inspire anybody. I didn't want to go through this. If I could go back in time and change, I wouldn't get out of bed that day. No doubt. I didn't do that. It's not a gift. If I could change it, I absolutely would. You know. But since I can't change it, I might as well convert it into something that is a message and something that I might as well find strength in it.
Well, it sounds like you have, and that you found a lot of strength in it, and you're sharing that with the community and with the world with this book. Is there another passage you'd like to read?
Sure.
And I'm looking at time-wise here. We've got about about 7-8 minutes.
Okay, then there was one I was going to read in the middle here that's called Agony in the Garden. Let's put it this way. Not spoiler alert. I go through so much, and again, when you see this, it's just event after event. And again, some of them are just absolutely magnanimously gorgeous and beautiful and mind-blowing. And some of them are just so dark and dread, you're like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening to one person. This just can't happen. And there's Agony in the Garden is where after 4 years, I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to self-murder. I'm going to suicide, you could call it. But even though spiritually that's against everything that I would believe in. So Agony in the Garden is about that. Now I'm going to skip those, so I'm not really going to read from that today. This will be real quick. The final chapter is called Prophecy. I travel to Egypt. I have many past life regressions within subterranean chambers of a lost city there. I was sent there. And then I was given visions and prophecies of what to do next. And that's what told me to write this book. Before this is a chapter that tells me to write this book. And this is the last part of it. I have lived. I have died. I have resurrected. I have loved, lost, survived, and triumphed over tragedy. So have you. I've been selfish and nearsighted of my own sorrows, while mindless to others. I have served my lovers, communities, friends, and family. So have you. I have been humble and I have been proud. I will dedicate my life to spiritual realization, the sadhana practice, and service with charitable donations, counseling, writing, physical labor, and however I can. It's time. As I approach the final decades, years, months, and days of this one of infinite lifetimes, I want to serve one final purpose, my soul. Have all these events conspired to bring me to the threshold of spiritual realization? Has every loss, tragedy, and triumph brought me near the completion of my soul's journey? But I want to do something new, something I've never done. I've experienced the entire human condition within this very lifetime. Life, love, family, health, illness, wealth, poverty, loss, death. What I've yet to do is just live peacefully and meditatively, make progress, and acquire material stability only to support a spiritual life. I need to avoid fear, pressure, and restless ambitions. I want to live in quiet, longing for Anand, bliss. I want to become spiritually perfected, God realized, and I want to do it in this very lifetime. If I can make this prophecy come about, I will retire from the world. I will work to share spiritual thoughts and opportunities and serve a spiritual mission till I can work no more. But I no longer want it to be about money, safety, or security. I'm tired. It's been a long day. It's been a full life. I am weary from eternal life. I don't want to move anymore. I want to make the next home my last and live modestly but safely. To do my sadhana and share with others with no pressure or profit. I don't know where I am on my soul's journey, but I must be close. We all are. Spiritual realization of soulful beatitude can take many, many lifetimes, but it can also happen in an instant. And when it finally does, it is eternal. Instead of many desires, I have just one. I want sadhana, spiritual practice, spiritual union. All I truly need is to desire sadhana, to just do my thing. In the beginning, you do your sadhana. And in the end, sadhana is all you do. I don't think it is possible to have a grander and more gracious opportunity to complete my soul's journey than right here, right now, in this very lifetime, not one life after.
Wow.
Well, thank you for that. That's really powerful, and was kind of blown away by your choice of readings and your story. It's really amazing, and I want to thank you for sharing it with us tonight. It's pretty. Do we have any other questions from the? Yes.
I was just wondering, you actually have a little stack of some workbooks there. Can you just speak to those very quickly? Just super quick?
Sure.
Thank
This
you.
is my fifth book. Before my death experience, I have 4 others that are, I'm a 6-time award-winning author. My first, so I like to joke because my first book was a memoir also called Memoir of a Dopey, a stone's throw. And that's won 4 awards.
Okay, good.
Okay. And I hope the rest of my life I do not have enough material to write another memoir. I don't want to live a life where I have enough material for writing another. So along the way, also as a spiritual mystic, I have been teaching, lecturing, and writing on mysticism and spirituality through most of my life. Wasn't just from NDE. And so these workbooks, I was always giving workshops on tarot, astrology, Kabbalah, all these systems that I'm more familiar with. I'm virtually a master in so many of them. And so these workshops that I would give, people always wanted to have something to go with. And so I get these workbooks so they could actually follow along with what I'm teaching them.
Nice.
And then these workbooks turn into workbooks that are for sale now too. We have one on cosmic consciousness, one on tarot. Tarot, not just on a system of divination where you can fortune tell.
Mm-hmm.
Tarot is actually a system for
Self-knowledge, I think.
it's for expanding your conscious, becoming
Yes.
mystical and
Yeah.
spiritual.
Yes.
And that's what it was designed for
Yes.
originally.
That makes sense.
There
It's
is
just
a book here
self-knowledge.
called The Complete Philosophy of Yoga.
Oh.
This is again about how to use yoga with a complete layout on how to do the asanas, meditation, what the 8 paths are, to how to again expand your spiritual consciousness. The workbook on Kabbalah,
Oh, beautiful.
the
Beautiful.
Judaic mysticism's system with the Tree of Life.
Your art is
And
beautiful.
here's the other version of that has the little pull-out version with the Tree of Life, and you can use the reference point when you read along with it.
Thank
So
you.
all of these are available here in Trish's store
Yay.
and or on my website within the portal.com. I also offer, I want to point this out too. I have a community within the portal, weekly classes and workshops on spirituality, on different systems to be able to put this stuff to work so you can use it. It's free. The books are for sale. I also do readings and insights, and they're very intense. You have to go to the website to see what they're about. They're not just tarot readings or something. They're far more comprehensive than that. And so the community is something that is kind of a new thing that's starting out within the portal community. We're getting people together once a week, once every couple of weeks. We meet, we talk. I lead them and guide them to spiritual things, and we talk about the true origins of them and the true way they work.
Thank you so much. I know there's a lot of people who've had NDE, but they don't talk about it because they don't want to be that one person who stands out as the strange one who had an unexplainable experience that no one else could possibly understand, right? Nobody would understand. And much like grief, you don't understand it until you experience
That's
it.
right. Yeah, sure, certainly is an ineffable experience, but I got to tell you, as part of the writing and NDE community, trust me, there's a lot of people talking about it. And again, they've had life-changing experiences, and I think it's very significant that they share with many people as they can. At the same time, it's important. One of the things I'm trying to point out through these teachings is that, trying to say this in a very politically correct way, I guess. Having an NDE does not make you a spiritual master. It doesn't make you an expert. Having an NDE makes you have a phenomenal experience.
Makes you a statistic.
It makes you wake up and see and you have a spiritual awakening. But it still takes work. And what I mean about sadhana, what I'm trying to encourage people to do is to not just have a moment in time where you become spiritually awake and aware, but to work at it. It takes, and so what I consider myself as a spiritual fitness trainer. That's what somebody called me a little while ago.
Love that.
They said, Krishnanand, you're like a spiritual fitness trainer.
That's
I
great.
could come to you. I get my spirit. You give me exercises. You teach me how to be spiritually fit and get in shape and be able to be spiritually healthy.
Nice.
I'm like, that's a good term. I'm not a guru. I'm not a master. I can't enlighten you. What I can do is prepare you for that. I can get you in good spiritual shape. And so that's what the community is for.
Yeah.
Books are for, is to teach you how to put spirituality into your life and live more spiritually.
You give us the tools, don't you?
That's and how to use them. Yeah. I give you the
Beautiful.
hammer, the nails, and I
Yeah.
tell you how to use them.
There we go.
And the blueprints.
Beautiful.
Yes.
We have the material. We are.
That's right.
We just need the tools.
That's
Beautiful. Oh, my
Thanks for
goodness.
that question. Thank you.
No, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming out tonight and taking the time. These books are available at our bookstore, Downtown Book and Sound. I want to I'll hold it up here again, and I want to thank Krishnanand once again for coming tonight and for joining us online. Let me hold it so we can see the name there. There we go.
Can I give a plug to the bookstore without Christian? Listen, it's very rare to find like a real, actually authentic, real, genuine, actual bookstore. She's got a little statue of John Steinbeck's head over there, and it's absolutely amazing. Listen,
His head on
I'm
a
often
platter.
asked why I became a writer, and I tell you, I mean, I got a list of authors that inspired me when I was a child, and Giant Sunbake is one of the main ones. I didn't move here because of him, but it's coincidentally that's a big reason why I'm here, and I'm so
There's
glad.
no
And
coincidence.
it's so phenomenal to sit in an authentic, genuine, real bookstore that's full of books and people that know them.
Well, thank you. We're very happy to be here, and we believe that books and local authors help build community and spiritual community too. So I'm excited to finish reading this book and to maybe do some workshops with Krishnanand in the future.
Yeah,
that's
hear
that's
that.
what we'd like to work towards. I think that would be really fun because it sounds like it would be a really awesome thing to do. So thank you all for joining us. This video will be available on our YouTube channel, and that's Downtown Book and Sound on YouTube, as well as on our Facebook. So that this will on the Facebook event. So Krishnanand, thank you once again.
And say,
And-
Jai Shri Radhe, glory to the essence of divine love.
Namaste. How's that? That's all I know.
That's enough.
Say with me, Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe.
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 Jai Shri Radhe. That means
Jai
glory to
Shri
the essence.
Radhe.
Glory to the essence of divine love. That's
Beautiful.
a Sanskrit. That's a Sanskrit kind of mantra you could say.
Oh,
Thank you.
beautiful.
That
Beautiful.
sounds very good. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to sign off now, and I hope to see you guys in person. And thanks everyone for joining us here tonight. And we are going to end the stream now.
Bye-bye.